Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. And I think this voyage got just even more fantastic with the hiring of Monty Williams. He just finished his introductory press conference, and he blew me away. And I knew that he's an impressive person and everything that he's gone through his life. I talked about it in the last podcast. But I just know that he mentioned how just seeing all the players showed up for the press conference, and Monty said that messed me up, and made him a little emotional seeing all of them there, except for Bogey, and I'm sure Bogey was back at home across the ocean, so he wasn't able to be there. But that is the type of person Monty is. When Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson got traded for Kevin Durant, he said he cried, and he said he gets emotional sometimes, and we might have to get used to that. But I just am impressed with that he cares so deeply about everything. Gore said getting him at this important time is so awesome, and he thanked Monty and his family. So he said Monty's family outvoted him, and they had a huge impact on the fact that he is here. And I could try to go through the whole story as best I can, but I'm not going to try to go through all of it. I listened to the press conference. I'm going to give you some quick takeaways from it, but I just know that his family had a big part. A lot of things were going on. So during the playoffs, they found out that his wife had breast cancer. So after the playoffs and after he got fired, Monty was dealing with that, and he has kids, and he said, they were going through testing and more testing, and so he wasn't going to bring that up, but he wanted to, because he just wanted to make sure as many people as he could reach could know that early detection and testing is vital and can save a person's life. And so that, again, that's Monty. He cares about people and wants to help everyone. I know Troy said that this was the result of a lot of work from a lot of people, and is the reason why Monty was here, and not just Scores, but himself and the whole team. And I just think that is played a big factor in why he wanted him there. I know that Monty told him that right away that you're not going to find a better locker room anywhere in the NBA. Troy told Monty, and so that meant a lot to Monty when he heard that. And then his pastor, his mentor, his spiritual advisor or advisor, he told him, Monty, I think that this is going to be better for you than it is for the players, that you're going to get more out of being around these guys than what you're going to give them, and that this is a great time for you in your life. So he said that Monty said that there were some similarities between the Suns and the young Pistons and wanting to be good. He talked about how Devin Booker right away said, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Tell me what I need to do to make us compete. And so Pistons, I think, have the same type of attitude, led by Cade Cunningham and all the other guys. I think Monty was impressed. He said, I look at these guys and they're tall. We have a tall team, but he said whenever you talk to them, they look you in the eye. Whenever you text them, they get right back to you. And so those are little things that mean a lot, and were very impressive. He told how he immediately got tons of text messages from different Pistons and former Pistons, and like Chauncey Billups texted him immediately and told him about what a great city it was, and if you compete, if you have a winning team here, and how much it's going to mean to the people. And Monty himself said, and this is his goal, is he wants to be so successful here that people identify him as Detroit the same way that they would identify Dave Bing. And I think that's going to happen. So how that happens is not just a day. That happens when you have a run for a period of time like Chuck Daly had, and you're good for that long, and that you're part of the city and you're part of the Pistons fabric. And just like, this guy's on the going to work team that were here for all those years, and Monty wants to be seen as a Detroit guy. And so that was real impressive to me. they ask him why, what it is about your style that, is going to separate you, or what do you think describes who you are as a coach? And he said, just that we compete, that just we're going to compete every night, and we're going to compete at both ends and then transition, and that's the main thing that he thinks the team is going to do is compete, work hard, and wear down the other team with the wear down effect, he said. Gores was impressed, and this I got to admit this. I not to second guess somebody. You never know what's in a person's heart, but Gores mentioned that Monty's hunger, and that he wants to was excited to get the work in and make a great team. And you get a guy that's come off, it's disappointing to get fired, and you feel Monty had kind of admitted that until Troy called him, it kind of makes you lose your mojo, your confidence. And he said Troy, inspired him and gave him some confidence that he knew him and wanted him so badly. But I was a little bit concerned that Monty, he's just given all this money, man. He's given $78 million, and, for the next 6 years, whether he wins the game or not, but obviously Monty's not that person. Monty is the person that's going to come in there and do the best that he can all the time. And another thing I'm real impressed with Monty is his assistant coaches. So he has, even though he is relatively young as a coach, he was a head coach at New Orleans, and then he's been assistant at different places. And he was at Oklahoma City when Troy was there, and so that built their relationship. But he has a coaching tree, that different guys have gone to different places. Even this Darko Rajokovic, who was on Monty's staff at Phoenix, he just got hired. He just got hired to be the head coach in Toronto, and that's a guy that Monty. So what it says about Monty as his assistant coaches is not only he's smart about who he hires, and then also they develop and they learn and they get better and they get to be better coaches because they're around Monty. So Mark Bryant, who is coming over too with him from Phoenix, he's like this post whisperer. He's worked with a lot of big guys who have been real successful, and that's we got a lot of big guys, and so it's exciting to see what they're going to do. Willie Green was on his staff. Willie Green is, a lot of people think so highly of Willie Green. He's the head coach for the New Orleans Pelicans, and they've had some success, but they also dealt with a lot of injuries. But a lot of people really like and admire. So and Kevin Young was his assistant. Now Kevin Young was up for the Milwaukee job and the Toronto job and not the Detroit job, but he's the highest paid assistant coach in the NBA, and he's going to stay with Phoenix. But that's how highly they thought of him. And again, he was there under Monty's tutelage. So we talked a little bit about Stephen Silas, and Stephen Silas is a great addition. And Monty talked about him again, about how he is such a smart coach, and his offense when he was with the Mavericks was the best in the NBA, and best in NBA history up to that point. Somebody surpassed that by now. Of course, offenses are getting better and better, but he's still going to be our offensive coordinator. And that Dan Burke, that's our new defensive coordinator. Again, he's been around for a long time. We have a very experienced staff, and I think they are going to be amazing. And Monty alluded to that continually, that it's a whole team process that is going to make our team great and make the Detroit Pistons great. And it's not just one guy, and it's just the assistants, it's the general manager, it's the owner, it's the players, and it's the trainers, the team doctors. It's everybody that goes into it. But what we know is that Monty and Troy are going to hire good people. And we've seen, even with Denver winning congratulations, shout out to the Denver Nuggets, world champs. They were patient in Denver. I went through that in a previous podcast, how, they drafted the Joker a long time ago, and then they added Jamal Murray and Porter Jr., and they just kept adding pieces, but they were patient and they had their key pieces. Well, who, regardless of who we get in this draft, and I hope that it's going to be an integral part not too long, a little over a week when we have the NBA draft. But I think that Troy's got the right people, and you constantly hear that when people talk about Denver, that they had the right people. And when you heard their players talk after they won the championship last night about, how much they care about each other and how they're happy for people's success, everybody else's success. But anyway, Monty said that you marry yourself to the job, and I know he can't wait to get started. The players have organized themselves. That was pretty cool to hear about that. The players have been, and they did this last year, that they have been getting together and running their own practices, the team, and with their own fortitude, and says just a lot about our guys. And now we have Monty. He said, he just said a lot of things that were just all positive. And I know I'm jumping around a lot, but I'm really thrilled with him. I'm really thrilled about the staff that he's assembled. I think that, like you said, Dan Burke, he orchestrated and assembled great defenses that were real successful, and that's obviously an area that we need to get better at. We're still hoping Jarrett Jack. Someone said they saw him. They saw him today. Somebody caught a sight of him, so that I'm confident that he might come there. And I love this, though, Monty's honesty. And somebody asked him, why did you take this job? And he was offered. He had options. Stephen Silas had options. So Stephen Silas, I know from all reports, I don't know for a fact, but I'm real confident that Stephen Silas was, and he's our lead assistant, he was offered the same job by the Boston Celtics, who have this fantastic team. But Monty shared Troy's vision and his vision, and I think that had a big impact on why Stephen Silas chose to come to Detroit. But anyway, they asked Monty why you chose Detroit, and he said, the quick answer is obviously Troy, the players, and the money. I mean, he didn't hide from that. A lot of people would. He said, when someone is that generous to pay me that kind of money, that should be applauded and talked about. And so he's saying that to Tom Gores, but it also, it just says something about what he feels. And he didn't say, that he could have just tried to say it wasn't the money, it was this or that, or it was the Troy and it was the players. But he loves he says this is a storied franchise, and he wants to make it successful here. And, he knows the people of Detroit deserves it. And he wants to be part of the fabric. His son, I think he enrolled already in Birmingham Brother Rice. So his son is going to be going to school and playing basketball in the state of Michigan. And so, I think it's just nothing but a great thing. There's a lot of great quotes from him, but I just wanted to jump on real quick to share my excitement with, again, the man who Monty Williams is and the coach that he's going to be. And I think we're in great hands, and I'm so excited for our future. So anyway, do something nice for somebody today. Monty Williams would, and go Pistons.